thing messing around outside.
So I got a call in to the game warden.
And I can see some footprints.
So this is insane!
Echoes call from hollow halls, a voice that creeps and softly crawls. Time stands still, the air is...
On July 27th, 2025, Tio, the creator behind My Name's Tio, uploaded a video that began like many others. He was in Leadville, Colorado, a town perched so high in the Rockies that even a gentle hike can leave you gasping for breath. But what started as a day of exploration and bonding slowly unraveled into something far more unnerving. Tito, traveling in his self-converted 2001 Ford E250 van with his cat Lars, was joined by friends for a hike that promised big views and bigger laughs. The terrain looked manageable, but the altitude quickly reminded everyone just how high up they were.
How cute is that? He's jogging with a donkey. I thought me and Lars were like a unique pair. That's so sick. What's up, guys? My name's Teo, and I travel full-time in my self-converted 2001 Ford E250 with my cat Lars. Right now I'm in Colorado, Leadville to be specific, and I am on a hike with a few friends with this beautiful freaking view. I mean, you can't really beat that. But yeah, we got a lot planned while I'm here. I was in California for a minute, and I just decided to drive down here. We have a lot of fun planned, so can't wait to show you guys some of the stuff that goes on. But yeah, let's get back to this hike.
The group navigated loose gravel and slick paths with the kind of energy that only comes when people feel safe and happy in each other's company. When the rain started to fall later, it was more a punctuation than a disruption, just another part of the experience. After the hike, the group made their way back into town. Later, the group arrived at a new camp.
Alright, so we just got back from town. We are now on our way to a magical site, apparently, that Riley and Bunny drove ahead to find, and now we're all following them. So apparently it's a great spot. We'll see. Oh, those aren't deer.
I'm not sure what those are.
Those are rams.
Rams?
Yeah, 100%. They got the swirly horns.
I can't see them.
Did a good job, Riley.
Yeah, well, it's me and Bunny.
You and Bunny, good job. So I think tonight we're gonna do a fire, and yeah, I think that's all we got planned for right now. Ugh. How you feeling, Collie?
Good.
Good?
Definitely longhorn sheep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a fire right there.
There you are, friend. Majestic. He's gonna cross the road. staring at us.
It had been scouted earlier by Riley and Bunny, who promised it was the perfect spot, and at first it seemed to be, but by morning, everything felt different. The group gathered outside their vans, swapping stories of strange sounds they'd heard the night before. It wasn't the usual forest creaks or distant animal calls. There had been footsteps, movement, something that sounded intentional. None of them had seen anything. Not yet. Then Bunny remembered the trail cam. She'd set it up the night before beneath Riley's van, hoping to catch wildlife. Maybe some bighorn sheep, maybe a curious fox. What it captured instead was far more disturbing.
I caught the tail end of it. Are they gonna walk past again? Yep, they just kept walking.
Look at those shoes. Those what?
Yeah, those are black shoes.
Those are sandals.
For sandals?
Yeah, and those are gray sweatpants. What are they doing?
What are they doing?
Are they kicking my tire?
They're doing something.
Dude, and I thought I heard something messing around outside.
I did too.
See, I don't like that because I heard stuff last night too, but I was like, I'm not gonna let myself get scared.
We're not staying here tonight, guys.
Of course not. Absolutely not. This morning, we all woke up. We all got out of bed. We were starting to make breakfast, and then we were just kind of chatting, and we're talking about how we all were hearing things last night in this very private area that we're parked at. We were all hearing stuff last night, and it just so happens that Bunny put out a trail cam under Riley's van, pointing at her van last night, because yesterday we saw a group of bighorn sheep, so we were thinking maybe we'll see more critters, squirrels, stuff like that. But as we were talking about us hearing stuff last night, she went to go check the trail cam. There were literally 2 people we saw walking through our camp, and they stayed in our camp while we were all in our vans. We didn't see them. We all heard stuff, but we didn't see anything. And that is just really creepy because we are here, literally. Why would someone be in our camp? 2 people at that. We don't know who it was, but yeah, we decided that we're not gonna stay here again. I've seen enough horror movies to know how that turns out. So yeah, we're gonna make breakfast real quick since we're already started, and we're gonna hit the road because this was freaking creepy.
As the footage played back, their suspicions sharpened into certainty. 2 strangers were in their camp. They weren't just passing through. One of them kicked at the side of Tito's van. The other drifted in and out of view, wearing oversized pants and slides, appearing multiple times from different directions. There was no reaction from the group at the time, because no one had known they were there. For the group, the realization was disturbing. The strangers had come and gone without being seen. Their intentions were unclear. In a place that had felt safe and isolated, there was now the sharp edge of vulnerability. After this, their plans shifted. No one wanted to stay another night. Still, they had breakfast to make, and Tito wasn't about to let the day begin in fear. The group gathered, shared plates, and tried to shake the unease from the air. The wild had always been part of the journey, but this encounter reminded them that sometimes the real unknown doesn't come from the woods but walks quietly through your camp in the middle of the night. What did you think of this encounter? Let me know. Before we go any further, I just want to ask you for a small favor. If you're enjoying the video so far, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. We recently hit 100,000 subscribers, and that's all thanks to you. Our 100K special surprise was revealed, and we had many positive responses from you. Our next goal is to hit 200K before the year ends. It feels impossible, but hey, it's free to dream, right? Also, there's a hidden word somewhere in this video for you. Let's see if you can find it. Now, back to the video. This is more adventures made from scratch, and like most days for him, the plan was that there wasn't one. What started as an open morning with no real destination turned into an unexpected day deep in the Kansas woods, chasing curiosity, and eventually something a whole lot heavier than anyone could have predicted. The truck bed was still loaded from the last haul, and a farm cleanup could have been a productive use of time, but none of it felt right. So instead, it was a simple choice to just drive. Let the road decide. Eventually, the truck rolled to a stop near the edge of the woods, and the boots hit the ground with no specific goal other than to explore. maybe find a few mushrooms, maybe stumble on something interesting. It didn't take long to find the first signs of adventure.
When I woke up this morning, I had absolutely no clue what I was going to do today. There was a big vintage car auction way out in western Kansas, but I really didn't feel like driving all the way out there. And it's pretty nice stuff, nicer than what I usually buy. It wasn't like your typical old tree row or field car. There's a lot of really nice stuff that was parked in the barn, so I'm sure it's going to go pretty high. Would have made a neat video, but you know, that's a long drive. That's a long day. And there's only about 30 or 40 vehicles there, so I opted not to go to that. There's a horse and buggy auction today. Well, not horse, just buggy auction today, and horse tack and stuff like that. But I just filmed an auction yesterday, so I was like, you know what? I'm just not in the mood to go film auction. In fact, the back of my truck is still loaded full of stuff that I bought at the auction, so I could have went and emptied that out. I'm working on a farm cleanup right now. I could have done that. There's a unique smell right here. I don't recognize that smell. Sorry, I had a look a squirrel moment. But I didn't smell it a minute ago, and I smell it now. Can't tell what that is. But anyway, where was I? Oh, I opted not to go clean my truck out today. I probably should have, but oh well. Instead, I sat around for a minute at the house, and finally about 8 o'clock, I said, you know what? I gotta go do something. So I'm just gonna get in the truck, and I'm gonna start driving and see where I wind up. And as I was driving, I decided, you know what? I guess I'm gonna go exploring. Mushroom season's a long ways off, but I'm kind of scouting new areas for hunting for morel mushrooms. In addition to that, I'm hunting for treasure. You never know what you're gonna find out in the woods. There might be some oysters or other types of mushrooms growing right now. So anyway, I have no clue what we're gonna find out here in the woods, but I guess you're gonna ride along with me and we're gonna have an adventure together. There's the first mushroom of the day. They're in pretty sad condition. I doubt they were anything good to start with. I don't even know what those would have been. They're so far gone, can't even tell. Pretty rough.
A couple of old, sun-dried mushrooms marked the start. Then came a scattering of animal bones.
There was a bone. You know, I don't have anything else I'm picking up today, so I guess what I can do is go ahead and start saving some bones. People buy this sort of stuff, and I usually just leave it laying in the woods, but you know what? Why not? I'll go ahead and pick it up today. I'm not really picking anything else up. There's a vertebrae. Guess we'll save that too. See here, I think I have a mesh bag in my backpack. Yep, right there it is. Okay, that'll work good. In fact, I think I'm gonna go ahead and put the drone in the backpack just so I can carry it a little bit easier. These lingerie bags are sure handy for putting just about everything in. I've harvested plants, I've harvested mushrooms, I put cool stuff like this in them, you name it. I've even picked up tin cans, or not tin cans, aluminum cans before. There we go. All right, the treasure hunt has begun. Also, I was going through some of the stuff. I still haven't gone through all my boxes of stuff since we moved, and I was going through everything, and I found this right here. That's my buck knife. It's a real nice one that I bought, I don't know, years ago, probably 10 years ago, and I carried it with me for a while, and then it got put somewhere in the old house, and I found it while we were moving, so I stuck it in a box, and then I found it again the other day. Any mushrooms that I do find today are going to be the bigger variety that I'm going to need a bigger knife for.
Nothing fresh, just weathered reminders of the cycle of life out here. From there, the walk wove deeper into the woods and closer to the shore of a now severely diminished reservoir. The waterline, once high and familiar, had crept far away, revealing a wide stretch of silty, cracked land. It looked almost like a moonscape in places, dotted with sun-bleached driftwood, long-forgotten trash, and the footprints of deer, raccoons, coyotes, and people. Eventually, the shoreline gave way to the woods again. Trees clawed at the sky above a dry creek bed, and the forest floor offered just a few mushrooms. Not the good kind, not today. But then the mood shifted.
What in the world? There's a big buck laying on the ground over there, a huge buck. I bet a hunter shot him. And of course I'm wearing a buck-colored shirt. This is not ideal, guys. I've got a bright orange hat on. That's a trophy right there. Yeah, I hope I'm not ruining somebody's hunt. I'm going to retrace my steps and get out of here. So what I did is I got a hold of a deer hunting friend of mine that has a deer tag. I'm just going to leave so he doesn't freak out. Let's go over here. I'll walk down here. But anyway, I got the GPS coordinates and I sent them to him. I don't know if that's the ethical thing to do or not, but I hate to see that guy just lay there like that. Watching him lay there and suffer is just, man, I'm getting out of here because he's still freaking out. Okay, I got away from the buck and got calmed down a little bit because, I mean, I know it's a cycle of life and all that. And part of me is just like, let nature take its course. But at the same time, it's like humans probably cause it. I don't know that for sure. He might have just broke his leg or something, but he's really not getting up. So I'm guessing he got a spine shot or something like that. and so he can't move his back legs at all. And so humans cause that. And so I feel obligated as a human to help rectify that situation. And so I got a call in to the game warden and see what he says. Nobody answered, but if they call me back, I'll let them know. I'll send them the GPS coordinates. I don't know if it's legal for another hunter to come and get that or what the deal is. I'm not a hunter. I don't know what to do in this situation. This is a first for me, that's for sure. So I don't know. So hopefully the game warden will know what to do. I thought I heard some noises out in the field back behind me, so I've been whistling and yelling, but I thought maybe some hunter's trying to find it, but I don't know. It probably happened yesterday or early this morning and they gave up and can't find them. I don't know. It's just a stressful situation. I don't even know how much of this I'm going to put in the video.
Lying motionless in the tall grass was a buck, a big one. He wasn't dead, but he wasn't moving either. Something was wrong, very wrong. There was no blood trail, no obvious wound at first glance, but the deer couldn't get up, just twitched and laid there, panicked and helpless. The first instinct was to walk away and let nature do what nature does, but this didn't feel natural. This felt human, and if it was human-caused, then maybe a human should try to fix it. A quick call went out to the game warden. Luckily, he was nearby. They agreed to meet, and soon the details started to line up. The deer hadn't been hit by a car. There were no roads close enough for that. Bow season was open, but this wasn't a bow wound. After investigating, the warden confirmed the worst. The buck had been shot with a rifle. Poached. Someone had taken a shot they shouldn't have, during a season they shouldn't have, and likely lost track of their wounded animal. Now, instead of a clean harvest or a clean miss, there was just suffering. The buck would be taken in as evidence. The meat, maybe salvageable, maybe not. The antlers? If no one claimed ownership of that, the law allowed, they might end up with the man who found him. But that wasn't the point. The point was someone had tried to take a shortcut and left behind a mess that others had to clean up. For a while, the joy of wandering through the woods was replaced with frustration. But he didn't let it ruin his day. By the time the sun began its descent, the bag held a modest mix of bones and a few small treasures. Nothing major, but a story nonetheless. That's the way these adventures go. You never know what you'll find. Sometimes it's just aluminum cans and raccoon tracks. Other times it's a lesson in doing the right thing when it's not your mess to fix. Whether it's a good adventure or a bad one, it's still an adventure made from scratch. Also uploaded on July 27th, 2025, Jesse's Drone Adventures takes us on another wide-ranging, unscripted journey across Arizona's rugged beauty in this one. And this time, it starts in a remote canyon with steep rock walls. Jesse launches his drone into the dry air, scanning the canyon for anything hidden. He's not expecting much. Usually these narrow crevices in the desert only yield shallow caves shaped by erosion. But every now and then, the drone catches something more. That's what keeps him coming back. Today's early flight reveals little more than scattered debris, the kind of thing someone either lost by accident or dumped on purpose. Still, it's enough of a warm-up to keep the momentum going. Jesse packs up and drives on, pulling off at a roadside rest stop he's passed dozens of times but never explored. There's a deep ravine just beside it, full of brush and junk metal, and maybe, just maybe, something interesting.
I decided to pull over at this little rest stop on the side of the highway on the way to Globe, Arizona, and the wind is picking up pretty heavy right now. I've drove past this place probably dozens of times over the course of the last few years. Figured I'd get out and let nature do its thing. I also see this ravine over here, and it looks like there's a bunch of trash down there. And I thought, hey, this might be another place to do some drone exploring and see what we find down there. There's a chunk of sheet metal right down there. And then over here, looks like there's another one. Wouldn't surprise me if there's a couple car wrecks down there too.
You can best bet there's already been some idiot in a Challenger or a BMW that sees those signs as a challenge, and this is what happens to them. Now, I'm not saying that these cars here are a BMW or a Challenger, but you catch my drift.
From there, Jesse heads towards Salt River Canyon, the site of something that stuck with him for the past year. On a drone flight in 2024, he spotted something half buried along the cliffside, an image that viewers wouldn't let go. The comments flooded in, urging him to report what he'd seen, to share it with the authorities. And now, 12 months later, he's back to find it again, this time on foot. The search begins high above the ground, with the drone gliding over miles of winding road and canyon walls. The drone sweeps back and forth until, unexpectedly, he spots something different.
There are countless car wrecks down here, and unfortunately, lots of trash. I was getting ready to fly my drone back in to do a battery swap, and then I stumbled upon this, and well, I couldn't resist.
Did not plan on spotting that old cave or mining entrance, whatever you want to call it, but it's only a few feet away, so I figured, let's go check it out. Looks like there's a trail over here, and I can see some footprints, so it looks like people do come out here. Not gonna lie, this looked a lot more accessible from the point of view of my drone. Had a little bit of a rough time getting down, but it should be smooth sailing the rest of the way. I just don't want to be out here too long because the weather in this area looks like it could storm pretty good in the next few minutes, and you don't want to be down on the side of a canyon when it rains. No. Let's hope there's no freaking bears. Look at that. I'm not gonna go too far in there. Actually, I'm not gonna go any further than this because this looks like rattlesnake heaven. But you can see the old rails that they would put the carts on to haul supplies in and haul elements out. Definitely not gonna go in there. But this was still worth getting out, walking down, and taking a peek. It is easily 15 degrees cooler in here. Go back in here a little bit, kind of against my own advice. Looks like there's a tunnel that goes to the right and one that goes straight in there. I'm not gonna spend too much time in here though. Probably bears, mountain lions, something in here want to eat me. So we're gonna head out. Just as I was getting ready to head back out, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a quick water break and just hang out in here. Could you imagine if as I'm talking to the camera, something in the darkness starts to appear?
A mine entrance, small and almost hidden from view, tucked away near a slope that looks deceptively walkable. From the air it seemed easy. On the ground it's not. Jesse picks his way down the slope and finds the mine right where the drone had seen it. An old opening with rusted rails still set in the dirt, used decades ago to haul rock and ore in and out. He doesn't go far in, just enough to peek. One tunnel veers off to the right, another dives straight into blackness. It's the kind of place where rattlesnakes, bears, mountain lions could reside, so it's not the kind of place you hang around in. Once he's back at the car, something doesn't sit right. The mine he just visited doesn't match the one he originally spotted on the drone a year ago. He sends the drone up again, and sure enough, there's a second mine, and then a third. Finally, he finds it.
Not too far away from these mines, I found exactly what I was looking for. This was the blue Mazda that I found last year, and it raised some great concerns in the comments section of my other video. If you look closely, you can see that 3 of the 4 car doors have been opened, as if after the crash, who was ever in the car made it out. But this is where the plot thickens. I scanned the guardrails to see if any sections of them had been replaced, or if some of them looked newer than others, to indicate this is where the car plowed through the rails. But I couldn't find any evidence of that. And if the Mazda did plow through the rails and Arizona Department of Transportation did fix them, why would they not remove the car? There are dozens of other car wrecks down here. Most of them are probably 30, 40 to 50 years old and further down the canyon, so I can see why they wouldn't remove those. But why not this one? And on top of that, I scoured the internet for hours looking for any articles or news headlines that talked about a blue Mazda crashing into the Salt River Canyon, but nothing surfaced. I did do my best to zoom in and see if there were any bodies still in the car, but from what I could see, there weren't. But there is always the trunk. Now, what I did see were 4 tires with some pretty good-looking tread and a shiny catalytic converter. Just kidding. Or am I? But when I do come back out here to check out the mines, I'm going to try to hike down to the Mazda and take a closer look, see if there is anything in the trunk, and try to pull a license plate or VIN number. But what do you guys think happened here? Be sure to let me know down in the comments. My money says that the car was stolen and whoever was driving the car was either drunk or a really crappy driver. And once the car landed down in the canyon, they all crawled out, probably unscathed, and decided that although it's an unfortunate situation that they're in, it would be best if they did not report it. And most importantly, not say a word to anyone.
Jesse plans to return. Next time, he wants to hike down to the Mazda and maybe even check the trunk. Not for drama, just for answers. He ends the journey at Gold King Mine Ghost Town. This wasn't a video about finding treasure or chasing ghost stories. It was about exploring what's already out there, the forgotten wreckage, the half-buried mines, the questions that don't get answered. Like always, let me know your thoughts on this footage as well. Airborne Pirates is a channel known for chasing wild weather and wilder places, and today's adventure was exactly that. An overnight solo camp on Snaefell, the Isle of Man's highest peak, with a storm brewing fast and hard on the horizon. The plan, as always, was ambitious. Testing the Hilleberg solo tent in 50 to 60 mph winds, pounding rain, and possibly thunder and lightning. When the trip was first planned, the weather had been pristine. But as the mountain always reminds you, no plan survives first contact. Conditions were changing fast, and not for the better. As he made the climb, visibility was already shrinking.
As you can see, conditions, I don't think they're going to improve, but they are definitely going to get worse. Problem with this weather is, you never really know whether you're at the summit or not. 2,036 feet high is Snaefell, so we'll press on. Last time I came up here, it was in the snow. A bit more of that this winter too. This is definitely way more windy than was forecast. I've got a wind anemometer, I'll check it out shortly, but the winds aren't supposed to get heavy until like another 3 or 4 hours. But this is insane. Be a good test for the Hilleberg. Tried to pitch behind me, but unfortunately the ground is like rock that deep, so I can't get a solid pitch. So I'm going to go lower and try and find somewhere I can pitch. This is absolutely horrific. Just check the wind, 65 miles an hour up here.
The cloud clung to the slopes, and the wind had that raw edge that tells you it's just getting started. Snaefell isn't a technical mountain, but on a night like this, it takes on a different character, less a peak and more a proving ground. The last time he was here, it was under a blanket of snow. Today, it felt like something worse was waiting above. Reaching the summit wasn't going to happen. The wind up top had already hit 65 mph, and the ground was too hard to stake a tent into properly. Without a secure pitch, even the best shelter becomes a liability. So he backed down, found lower ground, and set up camp just as the gusts started to howl through. Inside the tent, he finally had a moment to breathe. A small pump inflator / lantern made light work of the sleeping mat, and his sleep system was dialed in. Dinner was cooked carefully inside the vestibule with plenty of ventilation. And then there were the antenna towers on Snaefell, barely visible through the cloud, stirring up memories of a strange local legend. A report from 2004 that an unidentified flying object crashed into one of them, seen trailing smoke as it disappeared into the valley. Emergency services responded, but nothing was ever found. Some chalked it up to experimental aircraft, others were less rational. It was one of those stories that doesn't fade, especially when you're alone in a storm. Outside, the wind was relentless. Gusts hit 60 mph as early as 9 p.m., hours ahead of forecast. The tent held, but the sensation of being rocked by the elements while sealed in a nylon cocoon brought a surge of adrenaline. He tried not to think too hard about being the only human on the mountain. The wind had shifted. Instead of head-on, it now hit the tent sideways, testing its structure in a completely different way. For the first time, he felt the tension tighten. He managed a little sleep, just enough. By morning, the winds hadn't let up, but the worst had passed.
Good morning, everybody. That was absolutely relentless. Relentless. I have to check the tent out, but from what I can see, looks okay. insane. All night it was ripping. I'm going to make an attempt to try and make the tent up. I've tried to film it, but as you can see, it's not conducive to a tripod, but we'll give it a go. Cheers, guys.
The tent had taken a beating but held strong. A bit of condensation, a bit of water ingress through the vent seams, but nothing catastrophic. Back at the van, he was tired, soaked, a little bruised by the wind, but smiling. It wasn't the kind of wild camp you recommend to beginners. It was the kind you build toward, with the right gear and hard-earned experience. But for airborne pirates, this was what it's all about. Not the perfect sunset or peaceful forest, the real stuff, the unpredictable, the unforgiving, the unforgettable. And with that, it was time to head home. But the mountain was still up there, shrouded in cloud, waiting for whoever's brave or foolish enough to try again. On October 22, 2018, this episode from Yugi Brothers took a sharp turn from urban exploration into something far more serious. For them, it started as a routine nighttime return to a familiar abandoned apartment complex, but it quickly escalated into one of the most intense and emotional nights the team had ever filmed. The location was Summit Villas in Brooksville, Florida, a place the Yu-Gi-Oh team had explored early in their channel's history. Back then, it had been eerie but quiet. This time, the vibe was different. The building stood rotting in the dark, but they weren't entirely abandoned. Within minutes of arriving, the group, Joe, Rob, Boomer, and Todd, pushed open a door to one of the units and immediately sensed they weren't alone. Inside, signs of life were everywhere. A made-up space, stocked food, belongings spread across the floor. Someone was clearly living there, and then it happened.
Look, if somebody's here, we're just taking pictures. Somebody's in here. Whoa, that scared the shit out of me, bro. There is somebody. Hey, bro, we're taking pictures. You cool with that? I walked right in the bathroom. The dude was standing in the freaking bathroom. I was gonna do my little mirror thing where I'm like, hey, what's up, homies? Dang. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's leave that guy alone.
Leave him alone.
Did he, I mean, was he scared?
No, but I just took pictures from him. I was thinking
That's the risk you take, I guess.
I guess it is, yeah.
Oh, look at that spider.
You know what? Yo, guys, make sure the car is locked over there.
I did, I locked it.
Your car's okay.
Joe walked right into the bathroom within inches of somebody. But when you're urbexing, that's par for the course. That's funny. That's funny though. Holy crap.
A man emerged from the bathroom, just feet from where they stood. Nobody shouted, nobody panicked, but every muscle in the room tensed. It wasn't just the shock of finding someone, it was the reminder that exploring these places always carries risk. You don't know who's inside, what their intentions are, or what they're running from. The man didn't pose a threat, just someone without a home, carving out a space in the dark. But it was enough for the group to regroup and move on. The encounter lingered in their minds as they headed next to the Brooksville train depot, part museum by day, part haunted relic by night. Behind the depot stretched a dense patch of woods the team had gotten lost in once before. This time they came prepared. But they weren't the only ones in the area. Police arrived shortly after the team did, casually but purposefully, and warned them to be careful. Just the night before, someone had been assaulted in those very woods, and the suspect had vanished into the trees. A manhunt was underway. The officers were friendly, even supportive of the filming, but the message was clear: stay alert. The team pressed on. But what came next wasn't paranormal.
I don't know. Yeah, that's closed, bro. Yo. Hold on. Watch where you're walking. Look at that. Someone stole somebody's bag. Guys, I'm telling you what, this is bad back here.
Yeah, I think we should
keep going. I agree.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
I'm telling you guys. Now guys, remember, stick together. So, no joke, somebody was probably robbed in here. Oh, you know what that stuff could be, guys? That could be where somebody was assaulted, and that's their stuff.
While hiking the wooded trails, they came across a disturbing sight. A pile of women's clothes and a bag, seemingly dumped in a hurry. It was the kind of discovery that felt wrong. Clothes slashed, shoes torn, items scattered as if someone had been running or attacked. They looked around, listened. Every sound in the forest took on new weight. They remembered what the police had said. And suddenly, the weight of what they might have found settled in. They made the call. The police returned. This time, the camera stayed off out of respect for the potential crime scene. The officer listened, walked with them back into the woods, and examined the items. What he told them left the group reeling. Early that morning, a man had lured his pregnant girlfriend to that very location, dragged her into the woods, and attempted to kill her. She survived. Barely. What the team found was her bag. Evidence. There was even crack cocaine inside. The attempted murder had happened less than 24 hours ago. Standing in the same place where it all occurred, everything hit different. This wasn't a spooky video anymore. It was a real crime scene, with real consequences, and the crew had just stumbled directly into it. Joe's voice at the end is somber. This wasn't just about filming a haunted location. It was about doing the right thing. They waited for police. They told them everything. And while they often joke and laugh through fear, tonight they left the camera rolling not for entertainment, but to remind viewers that the danger is real. It's easy to forget that when you're watching from the safety of your screen, but this night was a hard reminder. These places aren't just abandoned. They're sometimes hiding things, or people, or evidence of something unspeakable. The video closes not with high fives or jokes, but with a sincere moment of reflection. Joe admits he'll probably cry later. Everyone's shaken, because this wasn't just an exploration. It was a rescue, even if they didn't know it when they walked into the woods. What did you make of this encounter? Like always, let me know. Uploaded by Paranormal Discovery, this encounter dives deep into one of the most physically demanding and psychologically tense explorations on the channel to date. It begins not with chaos, but with curiosity. A solo mission into the wilderness to revisit a spot that had once delivered one of the scariest moments of the creator's life. He's back on the mountain, alone, in the late morning sun, climbing up steep terrain just beyond an old cave he'd explored before. The plan is simple: scout the area in daylight, get eyes on the summit, then return later that night to set up camp. But as always in these places, the mountain has its own agenda. He starts the climb carefully, sciatica flaring up again, the pain a reminder that this isn't just a hike, it's a challenge against his own body. A cold plunge in a shallow mountain stream helps calm the nerve pain. It's a moment of calm, oddly peaceful, until it's shattered by movement in the woods.
Hello? Okay, I just saw something white. I just saw white. What the f? Excuse my language. It looked like a polar bear. Like it literally looked like a furry thing go like that way. What the hell was that? What was that? Hello? That was weird. It was straight up a white furry like bear. Okay. I don't know if I'm alone. That was definitely something moving. Yeah, I really don't feel like I'm alone. Like like I know what I saw, and that was an animal of some sort, a white animal. But like, what the hell is white? Like, what animal would be like white and furry? Like, it wasn't small, it was big. Like, not like Bigfoot height, but like bear almost. I'm really creeped out. Like, actually. Hello?
Something white, big, furry. It darts through the trees, just out of focus. Not a deer, not a fox. Bigger than a coyote, too small for a bear, but not small. Whatever it was real, and it was watching. Still, the climb continues. He grapples up a nearly vertical cliff, alone, ascending into what he describes as a jungle-like summit. The view at the top is stunning. Rolling wildlands stretch to the horizon, and the elevation brings a stillness that's almost serene. He finds old trails and faint signs of human activity, but they dead end into thick brush. There's no clear path forward, just dense, ancient forest, and the sense that whatever had made those sounds last time was nearby. As he stands on the cliff's edge, the sheer scale of where he is begins to hit. There's no backup, no safety line. He's deep in the wild, hours from help, and whatever was stalking the stream earlier might still be watching from the trees. That night, the full return begins. This time with Kia, his dog, by his side. They set up camp in the usual spot. The sun drops fast. The woods begin to shift. What was once peaceful is now something else entirely. Then they realize the tent's been moved.
We back. And where the is the tent? Where the fuck's the tent? Yo, we just got robbed. Yeah, and someone just came and took the tent. What the fuck? Oh my. What the fuck?
If you're still watching, comment the hidden word nightmare.
Why is it over there? Why is there a tent over there? Hello? Someone in our tent? Kia, what the fuck? Kia, why is that over there? Oh, I'm shaking. Oh, shit.
Dress.
Yeah, it's gone. From our spot. What the fuck?
It had been left in one spot, but now sits somewhere else. Dragged or relocated without a clear explanation. No signs of wind. No one else around. That unsettling shift, the feeling that something unseen is playing with them, sets the tone for the rest of the night. From there, the sense of being watched only grows. Kia begins acting strange, alert and tense, eyes scanning the darkness. The tent is circled by something, footsteps maybe, or just the whisper of movement in the grass. Every sound is amplified in the silence. When the batteries begin to fail, cameras that should last hours suddenly dying, it feels like something is draining the energy, both literal and emotional. Vulnerability becomes the dominant emotion, not fear in the traditional sense, but a gnawing sense of exposure, like the forest itself is pressing inward. There are no ghosts jumping out, no obvious cryptid encounters, but the threat feels real. It's psychological, it's primal, it's the wilderness, yes, but it's also the unknown. And it's not about monsters in the shadows, it's about what it means to willingly walk into a place that doesn't want to be found, with no promise of safety and no clear way out. By morning, the exhaustion is written all over him. There's no big revelation, no confrontation, just the slow, sobering realization that something happened. Something strange, something unexplainable, and maybe, in a way, that's the whole point. Back at the trailhead, he closes it out with a message to viewers. Explore the world, push boundaries, go out into nature, but be safe. Because what he does? This wasn't for entertainment. It was something deeper, a test of fear, of instinct, and of the wilderness itself. And whatever that white thing was, whatever moved that tent, whatever drained the gear, it's still out there, somewhere in the wild. With this final encounter comes the end of another episode. If you haven't already, let me remind you again to like and subscribe. Also leave a comment about what you liked and didn't like about this video. We got a lot of content planned for you, so you better have subscribed, because trust me, you don't want to miss out. In about 3 seconds, there will be more disturbing videos on screen for you to watch, and with that, I'm out.